Welcome to the final Nepal video of 2022. Maybe. So after a disappointing Makalu trip and a disappointing Panspokari trip, we were going to attempt one more trek. But the question was, where to go? We hadn't planned on this. We didn't even plan on Panspokari. So what options do we have? We only have a week left. It needs to be quick. So let's talk a little bit about where we went and why we chose that spot. The trek that we finally decided to go on is called Gosaikunda. And both Gosaikunda and Panspokari are actually located in the same national park. Both of these treks are located in Lamtang National Park. Now, this is not our first rodeo in Lamtang National Park. We've been here before. In fact, we got engaged in Lamtang National Park in 2018. Since we had done the Lamtang Valley trek, I figured that I had seen enough of Lamtang and I didn't need to go back. But then came Panspokari, and I really enjoyed that trek, and I started to understand that the national park, Lamtang National Park, is a lot bigger, with more opportunities around for trekking than just the Kyanjingompa Lamtang Valley trek. And then our friends who we were staying with mentioned to us that they would be able to do a trek with us, but that because of certain scheduler arrangements that they had, the trek would have to be only 4 days long. So where can we go on a 4-day trek from Kathmandu there and back? And the options became narrower and narrower. After a bit of research regarding our condensed period of time and where we would be starting from, one name kept coming up over and over, and that was Gosaikunda. And I had heard of this trek before, but all I knew about it was that at the end there was an alpine lake. And considering we had just done Panspokari, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do another alpine lake. I wasn't sure how much that actually interested me. But I put it down as an option, just in case we couldn't find anything else. I don't remember if I mentioned this in the Panspokari video, but Lamtang National Park is incredibly close to Kathmandu. In fact, in a private vehicle, one could reach Panspokari from Kathmandu in about 4 hours. And the same went for Gosaikunda. If we could hire a private vehicle to take us up to the start of the trek early on one day, that same day it was very possible for us to get to a manageable height to be able to get up to the top and come back down within 4 days. Eventually, my friend Dan, who we were staying with, mentioned that of all the options that we had, Gosaikunda seemed like the best one to him. So we started to calculate out the days and how long it would take to get to the top and back, and if we could do it within our time period. And while doing that research, we actually found out that at the top of Gosaikunda, there is a peak that even amateurs can summit without a guide. And that seemed pretty interesting to us. So we thought we could make it to Gosaikunda, and then Dan and I could go up even further to try and summit that peak by ourselves. So after some deliberation and research, we finally decided that we were going to go to Gosaikunda. That's what this video is. Like I said, it's our final Nepal 2020 video from this past spring. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one. It's... what day is today? Sunday morning. We get one more shot at the championship title by trying to go see something in Gosaikunda. Sunday morning, love you. रुपैयाँ टिकट काउन्टर जानु होला. Don't pack up your red panda fur. You'll get caught. This guy, he's like, look, there's all these animals in the Lamtang Valley. We've got gharial and rhino. So I didn't explain it very well this morning because we didn't have time, but we're on a final trek to try and see anything. Mountains, red panda, and we're doing Gosaikunda in like 2 days or something.
It looks like the lodge is closed, so we might not get any food.
It's about 10 a.m. We left this morning at 6. So we're pretty hungry. This is the Gosaikunda trek. So last week, 2 weeks ago, we did Panspokri. It's the same national park. It's Lamtang National Park, but it's just a different part. So this is the western part of the Lamtang National Park. And Gosaikunda is a very famous lake, just very high up, and it normally takes, I think it takes about 5 days going typical speed, a comfortable speed, but we're gonna try and make it to the top in 2 days. It is still not super clear, the weather, I mean, which is kind of sad, but hopefully tomorrow morning we'll get something of a view. Because just behind these hills is the Lamtang Himal. So anyway, that's where we're at, that's what we're doing, and I'll keep you updated. But we've got quite a bit of walking to do today, so I'll see you on the other side. We were probably there for like half an hour. Whew. Namaste. हजुर चन्दन बारी जाने पहिलोचोटि नेपालमै विश्वभाषी हजुर पहिला 2014 देखि अनि यो चाहिँ चन्दन बारी जाने बाटो अनि दिम्सा पनि पुग्छ यो बाटोमा अच्छा हुन्छ राम्रोसँग जानुस् It literally just is at the top of the hill. Oh. No, that was super fast. Yeah. Oh, there it is, Green Hill.
तपाईं चीज बनाउनुहुन्छ
तपाईं नेपाली हैन
हैन
अनि नेपाली कुरा आउँदै छ नि
नेपाली सिकेको हामी सिकेको
ए सिकाएको
हजुर
अनि मान्छे नेपाली जस्तो छ नि
हो मान्छे पनि नेपाली जस्तो छ
नेपाली हो
होइन
पाटो भनेको तपाईं नेपाली छ नि कहाँ बस्ने
ग्रिन हिलमा बस्छौँ भन्दा
यहाँ काम गर्नुहुन्छ
तपाईं चीज बनाउनुहुन्छ
अच्छा
तपाईं त नेपाली हो विदेशसँग बिहा गरेको
नेपाली त होइन म चाहिँ जापानी जापानमा
ए yes जापानी
त्यसैले मिल्छ है अनुहार हजुर
जापानी
हजुर
Namaste. Namaste. Pizza. Oh, you mean like on the... That's a fat chicken. Oh. Namaskar. I don't know. Namaste. Kati. Oh. हाम्रो 4 जना हुन्छ 4 हामी 2 जना
ए छ मसँग रुम राम्रो
छ
राम्रो रुम छ
यो होटलको बहिनी सिधै कुरा गरेको यहाँ चाहिँ 600 पाइन्छ रुमको खाना रुम 600 पाइन्छ रे
खाना नेपाली दाल भात खानुहुन्छ दाल भात खाने ओके
सायद मेरो बुढी त कोटा हेर्न इच्छा छ सायद तुलना गरेर हुन्छ एकछिन What's up? Do you want to look at the room?
Oh, what did he say?
He said he'll do the same, but I don't know if the room is any different.
Yeah, it's what?
Okay.
Per person. 왜 사람이 보는자? हजुर.
morning. We made it to Chandan Bari last night. I didn't really get a chance to talk about it. But Chandan Bari is a really nice town. It's probably the nicest. It's probably the nicest place we've stayed on any of the treks this trip. Gosaikunda, this trek is much more built up, I think, than the other ones. And yesterday, like you might see from the videos, it was kind of foggy, it was kind of rainy. And some of the people going up to Gosaikunda today and tomorrow, they said, some of the guides, they said that it was going to be the same. But we woke up this morning, and, or I woke up this morning, and it was clear enough, so I thought I'd try to climb to the other side of this ridge that Chandan Bari is on. What I found. These are the Lamtang, and it's super clear. So hopefully, if we get up to Gosaikunda, it will continue that way. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. But hopefully, it stays clear. So this is Chandan Bari. We stayed at, let's see, this place right here, I think. The GoPro screen is kind of small. It's got the brown roof. Hotel Green Hill. It was good. It had good kana, good food, comfortable beds. Yeah, it was maybe the nicest place we've stayed so far on any of the trekking we've done this trip. Highly recommended. Horse. This one's looking like it got cut with a bowl. We got the bowl cut. That's poop. Bruh. You know what's funny? It's actually not funny, it's actually quite sad. That like, I'm like, this is amazing. But I'm like, yeah, seen it. We're the real mountains. Yeah. Like in most countries, this is what you'd settle with. It would be like, oh, the whatever mountain range, hill range in Scotland or something. Oh. That's gotta be them.
That's somebody else.
Hey, Buddha. Dang, dude. Those mountains just came out of nowhere. This trail is actually awesome. It's so nice. Yeah.
It's like a relaxing vacation, like video, like
Yeah, right.
tourist attraction video.
Oh, here we go. There she is. That is nice. Right up there. show it on the GoPro. I don't think you can see anything though. I think the glare is too much. But I believe this was the easy part.
La 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 so so ya ya mo. La 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 so so ya ya mo. Momo ko zarbiro bhayo he. Momo ko zarbiro bhayo he. Dale ko biro maza ayo he. Dale ko biro maza ayo he. He maza ayo wa. He maza ayo. Biro le rate bhayo wa. He pasina chuto. Tiso mata to bhayo wa. Maza ayo. Maza ayo. Maza ayo.
Yep. Right.
Okay, so this is the part of the video where I ran out of footage and I need to step in and bridge some narrative gaps with what's going on. But that's okay because this is a good opportunity for me to talk about something that I wanted to talk about in this video, and specifically for this trek and this part of the trek, that being altitude sickness. A simple understanding of what altitude sickness is can be easily derived from the name. But the symptoms and the causes leading up to those symptoms, why somebody might contract altitude sickness, require a little bit more of an explanation. Altitude sickness can happen to anybody hiking or traveling to over 2,500 meters or 8,000 feet. It can happen to men, women, and even people who are in the best shape of their lives. Altitude sickness is the great equalizer on the mountain, and it's important to stress that it can happen to anybody. 20% of people traveling over 2,500 meters, or that 8,000 foot mark, will experience some form or symptoms of altitude sickness. And as the elevation gets higher, a higher percentage of people will experience those symptoms, with 40% of people traveling over 3,500 meters or 10,000 feet experiencing some form or symptoms of altitude sickness. These symptoms include dizziness, headaches, tiredness, and in more extreme cases, vomiting and confusion, with prolonged exposure to high altitudes sometimes resulting in death as a result of the breaking down of tissue and the flooding of the brain and the lungs. So this is pretty scary stuff. But it's important to note that most people trekking in Nepal will never experience the more extreme symptoms of altitude sickness. And altitude sickness really becomes a threat or something to really think about when you are traveling to high altitudes over a very short period of time. So let's assume that you're going to gradually make your way to these higher elevations and not taking a helicopter in one day all the way to the top and then staying there. What are some steps to avoid altitude sickness? There's really one rule of thumb that most people trekking tend to go by. That is, any day that you're traveling above 2,500 meters or 8,000 feet, only go up in elevation 300 meters per day. This is not foolproof, though, and people who still stay under that 300 meter mark may still contract some form or some symptom of altitude sickness. And on the other hand, people who travel more than 300 meters per day after 2,500 meters may not experience any side effects or any symptoms of altitude sickness. But the chances decrease significantly since you are giving your body the correct amount of time to acclimate to those elevations. This 300 meters a day is really a pretty conservative estimate to try and keep people as safe as possible and to just really decrease the likelihood of anybody getting any sort of altitude sickness. So we have the rule of thumb, what you should do to avoid altitude sickness. And this is the point of the video where I say, do as I say and not as I do. Because on this trek, we absolutely broke that rule. Right off the bat, we're trying to make it to Gosaikunda in 2 days. Not recommended. It's a bad idea. Do not do this. The lake surface of Gosaikunda is located at 4,400 meters. Leaving Kathmandu, which sits at an elevation of about 1,500 meters, that is almost a 1,500 meter increase every day. And one of those days is entirely above 2,500 meters. So the second day, we are doing 6x what is recommended. Next dumb thing. Not only were Dan and I planning on going all the way to Gosaikunda, but we had originally planned on going even further on the same day. And we weren't just going to do anything, we were going to try and summit a peak. Now, we didn't even make it up to that peak, but if we had, that would have put us at 5,000 meters in elevation. Let me say again, do not do this. This is dumb. That was a bad decision. As a recap, we went from Kathmandu, drove to Dhunche, and then hiked up to Chandan Bari. Chandan Bari is at 3,300 meters. So we're already breaking that rule day one, because we're above that 2,500 meters. And the next day, we go all the way to Gosaikunda, which is 4,400 meters. So 3,300 meters the first day, and then up to 4,400 meters the second day. That same day, Dan and I go even higher. We go here, which is a small hill behind Gosaikunda. And this sets us another 200 meters even higher at 4,600 meters. definitely developing slight headaches. And even though as we descended to Gosaikunda and those headaches dissipated, that evening both of us had trouble sleeping, which is another sign of altitude sickness, is trouble sleeping. All of that is to say, even if you are able to do Gosaikunda in 2 days, meaning schedules work out and you're healthy enough to do it, my recommendation is do not do this. Take your time and take 3 to 4 days to get to the top. Not only is it safer, but you'll see a lot more and experience a lot more if you take time and take it slow. So we made it to the top of this hill, we made it all the way down, and as we got down, the girls greeted us. We got into the lodge, had khana, and then we made it down to Kathmandu. And we made it down to Dhunche, where the Jeep dropped us off the next day. We made it down, we did another 1-day descent for Gosaikunda. The next morning we hopped on a bus, and got back to Kathmandu, and then just a day or two later we left back to the States. That was our Nepal trip, Nepal 2022. We did 3 treks and we filmed everything, basically, except for small portions that I forgot to film. These were the major videos that I had planned on filming while we were there. And I have maybe one more video that I'm going to put out from this trip, but after that, that's basically all the video I took is now on this channel. We have more adventures planned for the end of this year and into next year, but I don't want to spoil too much. I'll leave that for later. Anyway, school's out. Summer's here. And although I don't have any major videos planned for this summer, with the exception of maybe one, subject to change. And maybe we'll end up finding a cool video idea and posting it. Those who have watched and enjoyed these videos, tere dhanyabad. Mero Nepali Satiharu is yet to come. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.